I got my glasses of water. I brought two today. I'll start with the small one. I'm not sure how long this lesson will go, at least an hour. We'll see. Let me just double check to make sure everything's working. We'll start at about 33 seconds. I didn't say hi to everyone in the chat today. Sorry about that. I was kind of running around getting things set up and getting ready for the day. Sounds like everything's working. We'll start in about 17 seconds. There's already questions coming in, so that's awesome. So 10 seconds to go, and we will get started for real. Let me get comfortable. Do some wiggling. 2, 1. Well, hello. Welcome to this English Q&A lesson. And if you don't know what Q&A stands for, the Q stands for question and the A stands for answer. So in this lesson, there's a link in the description below that you can use to ask one question. There is a limit, and I will try my best to answer that question. Nightbot will also put the link in the chat every once in a while. Let me put it over there myself, if I can remember how to type. Whoa, I think Nightbot just put it in the chat all by itself, and I will pin that in the chat so that if you want, you can just use that handy link at the top of the chat. Good to see some familiar faces over there in the chat already. Hafiez, Justina, Mode Eggs, know that. Let me scroll back and see. Freddie Wolf is here. Vitor, I think is, no, Unsel is here. Burgit is here. Cat Diary, Judith, Laura. Let me keep scrolling back. I thought I saw Vitor, but maybe I'm remembering another live stream. Michaelo is here. Chris, Ralph the Tiger is here. Paco-san, Anna Maria, hello to all of you. How Tran is here. Jose, George, German Villero, good to see all of you. But enough greetings. Let's get to work. If you have a question, please use the link in the chat. I will try to work my way through all of the questions that I get today. We'll see how it goes, though. I don't have a sore throat, but my throat feels just a tiny bit scratchy. So we'll go an hour. If I feel good, we'll do another 10 or 15 minutes and get through all of the questions. So I just like seeing everyone in the chat saying hi to each other. It's really cool. Hi to Prihatan, Hermine, Vivian Dewdrop. And this is live. If you're watching this at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is a live English Q&A lesson. So let me just look at the first question. Are you ready? Should I have a sip of water? This is my other water glass. I already drank quite a bit, though. I should slow down. I can always ask Jen to bring me another one, but she's outside right now. Oh, do we have an outside camera? Yes, we do have an outside camera. I should have mentioned that. I can turn off my little face here for a sec. So you can see a little bit of steam. It's not smoke. That's the exhaust from the furnace. And today, many of you are usually curious. Today it is -6 outside right now. So it doesn't look super wintry. There's a bit of snow, but it is definitely cold out there. It got warm and a lot of the snow melted, and then now it's freezing cold again. But anyways, let's get to the first question. Here we go. From Renata. Hi, Bob. Could you please explain why these words, horrible, horrific, and terrible, are considered negative, but this one, terrific, is positive? Have a great day. So it's interesting you asked that, because we actually use the word horrible to talk about something that's like negative, like, the movie was horrible. But you can actually flip it and say, the movie wasn't horrible. So when you use horrible in the negative, it can mean somewhat good. I don't know why we don't just say the movie was good. We do say that as well. But if someone said, how was the movie? I could say, it wasn't horrible. So it means I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good. It's somewhere in the middle. Oh, we got a dog running. We should have a look, maybe. I think Walter's trying to figure out where Jed went. She's in the barn right now, I think, doing chores. So he's on his way out there to see her. I don't know why terrific is positive though, because it does look like the word terrible or terrifying, right? But terrific means like, oh, the movie was terrific. It just means it was amazing. So not a great answer, but lots of example sentences for people to use. From Know That. Hello, Bob. To follow up on my question from yesterday, how is it with noise from the road near your school? Is it audible in your classroom? Thanks a lot, Bob. No, but my classroom is close to the garbage bins. So once a week, the garbage truck comes along the side of the school, and usually he drives in, he scoops up and dumps the bins. Like it's a really big truck with like forks on the front. And then it beeps. This is good from yesterday's lesson. We did a lesson yesterday on noises, and one of those noises was beep. And I said when a vehicle backs up, sometimes it goes beep. But yeah, so that is the one noise, because all the students lose interest in my lesson when it is backing up. But I can't really hear noise from the road, thankfully. That would be a little bit distracting for me and for the students. From Muaz, Bob's fan. Hi, Muaz. Hey, Bob, can you explain the dropping G's? Oh, I see. Yeah, the dropping G's in words like something, nothing, and is this American or Canadian? I think it's just standard informal pronunciation, and it's very common. If I see a student in the hallway and I think they're doing something bad, I might say, "What are you doing?" And they might say, "Nothing. I'm not doing anything." Would they say anything or anything? They'd probably say anything and say it there. Or I need to get something from the store. Very common. Where are you going? Oh, I got to run to the hardware store. I need to get something. So it's very common. What's interesting is often, at least in my examples, it's the last word in the sentence. So there's no reason not to pronounce the G. And you can. Like, what are you doing? Nothing. Where are you going? I'm going to the store to get something. But you can also just drop the G. Is it American or Canadian? I think it's both. I think it's both. It's very common in both. From George Devis. Hello there. Why don't we put is before the word still in this sentence? He whispers softly again, his voice still trembling. I don't know exactly why, but both would be correct. I do think, though, this is a little more poetic. When you say it this way, he whispers softly again, his voice still trembling. When you add the is, it sounds like both statements have equal value. But when you do it this way, it sounds like the whisper is more important than the trembling. I don't know. I think it's just a poetic choice for the person who wrote that sentence. So I wonder if that's from a song. So, hey, it's also quite windy outside today. So actually, I'm a little tired this morning because there were a few times in the night where I woke up because of the sound of the wind. We had 90-kilometer-an-hour winds last night. I should say kilometer per hour winds. But yeah, that's a little too windy for me. From the chat, Mode says, even in British English, they do the same. Yes. It's because we're always in a rush, right? We're always in a rush. And Svetlana says 6 p.m. right now, and it's the first day of spring. Oh, yeah. It's March 1st. Now, it's not the first day of spring for us, but whenever March rolls around, it does feel like spring is on its way. Here we go. From Judith. Hi, Bob. Have you ever considered making more Saturday live streams as years ago? Drink some hot tea when you can. Thank you. So if some of you who have been around for a while remember that I used to do a live stream every Saturday. That was in the crazy years when Bob had a lot more energy, and it was, for lack of a better way of describing it, it was too much. I was doing too much. I know many of you appreciated it, and it was a lot of fun. Like, it was fun to do a live stream every Saturday. But Jen and I talked, and we realized that between teaching at the school and doing YouTube, I was simply working too much. So if you remember, I went from 4 videos a week on my second channel down to 3 and then 2. I started to do a live stream only on Saturday mornings, the first of the month. And I think for me personally, it's been a good switch because it allows me just to be more consistent and take care of myself. And quite often I was losing my voice. I think I was talking too much. So I might do an extra one here and there. Life's busy, right? From the chat, no, that says, when the trash bins are near your classroom, how do you ventilate the classroom in the summer? So they are around the corner and my classroom is on the end and there are no windows on that side. Also, they're a little bit away. They're about 15 meters away from the school, and the trash bins have lids. We also there's like a fence as well. So we don't smell them. No, it's not too bad. I think the wind also blows in the other direction. So yes, trash bins close to the classroom. From I'm Charlie, how to speak fluent English. So this question comes up quite often. You're doing a good job right there by simply practicing your writing by asking a question. So how can I speak fluent English? Well, there's a few things that you need to do. You need to learn somehow at least 3 or 4 or 5,000 vocabulary words. You need to know their meaning and you need to know how to say them out loud properly, how to pronounce them. There are many ways to do this. You can use an app. You can do a lot of reading to learn new vocabulary. Reading the news can help quite a bit. You can just decide you're going to learn 10 words a day and just keep doing that for an entire year. But that base of having the vocabulary is quite helpful. And then the second thing, when people say fluent English, they usually mean conversational, like they want to be able to speak English. So you need to find a speaking partner. If you look in the description below, there's a link to a place called Preply, where you can find a tutor. That's just super, super helpful. From Connie. Let me just check the chat. No, that says, okay, thanks, Bob. No problem. Now you understand where the garbage is by classroom. Hafia says, I appreciate it too for that Saturday streams, even though I didn't exist yet. Oh, yes. So you appreciated them even though it was in the past and you weren't around. Michael says, quality over quantity. Yes. German says, did your children have a babysitter? When our kids were really young, if we ever went somewhere, my mom would come and watch the kids. It was rare that we actually hired a babysitter. If you're wondering what's happening, I do look at the chat and I do pay attention to member questions. So if you're a member and you throw something in there, I will most likely see it. But if you are just a regular visitor viewer, not a member, please use the form. From Connie, do foreigners worry about your grammar when you're speaking English? I think most people just want to be able to understand what you're saying and won't be too worried about that. Let's say you're in a store and you want to buy something. As long as they understand what you want, they're happy to sell it to you because they want your money. If you're asking for directions, you're usually in a touristy area and people are usually more patient with tourists. So I can't speak for everyone, but my main concern when speaking to someone whose English grammar isn't the greatest is I just want to understand them. So that's the main thing. And then as you speak, hopefully your grammar gets better and better. From Noisy Mode, here we go. I've heard a couple of people say, whatever happened to him? Does that have the same tone as asking what happened to him? Does the whatever make the first sound kind of rude? No, not rude. It's just emphasis. So if I'm talking to a friend and he says, hey, I was talking to Joe the other day, I could say, oh, whatever happened to him? I haven't seen him for 10 years. So it also means, it implies that you haven't seen the person. So if I say, what happened to him? I might just be asking like, oh, I heard he broke his leg. What happened to him? Like a straight factual question. But if I say, Joe, whatever happened to him? You could even hear the way I say it. Whatever happened to him? It means I knew Joe and I haven't seen him for a really long time. And I wonder, did he move away? Does he not live around here anymore? Et cetera, et cetera. In the chat mode as well, some learners tend to think the British pronunciation pronounce every sound clearly, but they're only judging based on the RP accent. If you listen to other accents in the UK, you'll realize they drop sounds too. Yes. And I think a lot of people feel like the RP accent is like the gold standard, but I always say it really depends what your goal is for learning English. If your goal is to move to the United States, learn North American English. If you're living in Australia, watch some English teachers from Australia. That would be my vote. Okay, let's see here. Let me get to the next question on the screen. Oh, I should do a lesson on this. From Yuri, hi Bob. Australians are Australian people, the Australian people, or the Polish people, the Polish people. How do we talk correctly about nationalities? This does require a little bit of memorization because sometimes it's tricky, right? Like people from the United States are called Americans. I don't often say mistakes out loud, but we don't call them United Statesians. That doesn't exist. People from Canada are called Canadians. Italy, they're called Italians. You actually change the pronunciation a little bit. If you're from France, you're French. So it does take a little bit of sheer memorization. You need a list. And then the way you're looking at it here, sometimes we just formalize it a little bit. Like when we say, Canadians love hockey, but in a newspaper you might read the Canadian people love hockey. So it's just a little more formal sounding. But I can't give you all of the breakdown because it is kind of tricky, right? If you're from the UK, you might be British, right? Like there's a lot of complexity there. That'd make a good lesson. Maybe that'd make a good Friday lesson at some point. Hafiez is saying to Mo, what are you talking about? Dropping a whole lot of letters as he says that. Great example. The Netherlands, Dutch. The Netherlands and Holland, it's just called the Netherlands now. That's what I was told many, many times in a previous live stream. Let's see here. From Mikhailo. I think I say your name different every time. Hello, dear teacher Bob. The question is, every region, even country where English is native, has its own accent. And I'm curious, little typo there. I'm curious, is there some accent which is different for you? So in Canada, we kind of have mostly the same accent, except if you live on the East Coast. There is a bit of an East Coast accent, especially if you're from Newfoundland, the province of Newfoundland. If you look at North America as a whole, where I live, and then if you guys, most of you know Brent from American English with Brent, he's from Maine. He's about 11 hours away in the United States. Our accents are very similar, like so similar that there's probably only 20 words that we pronounce differently. But is there an accent that's difficult for me? Yes, a strong, like if someone is speaking English and they're from Ireland or Scotland, those can be quite tricky because sometimes they'll also have other words added in there. So let's see here. Mode says we don't talk about politics here, Igor. What did Igor say? Oh yeah, what do you think about Trump? I think that the United States lives in a democracy. That's what I will say about that. A democracy is where you vote and someone wins an election. That's how it goes. No, that says personal question, Bob. Only if you don't mind answering. Which of your kids is the tallest in the meantime? So we don't know yet. I don't know if they're all done growing yet. So that's usually I answer no that's questions, but I'm gonna slide by that one, know that. I will say this though. Two of them are tall. Two are taller than me. Yeah, two are taller than me. I do know that. Mode and Hafias are talking. What are you in British? Yes. And Ronaldo says, "Hi Bob, Brazil. I love you." I've had a lot of followers from Brazil. It's very, very cool. So very cool. Okay, let me see. Let me get another question on the screen from Unsel. Oh, you know what? I should do this more. That's the whole point of having a camera set up. so you can see outside. Is that camera working? Or I think it's frozen. Do you guys think it's frozen? Let's have a look here. Is anything moving in the frame? I think it's frozen. I don't want to just show you a picture of the outside. That's kind of boring. Yeah, that's a very still image. Let me do something. I'm still here. Don't leave. Let's see if I can get this. Sometimes stuff stops working. And then, well, I just switched it to me. Ooh. There we go. Yes, now the branches on the trees are moving again. There you go. Okay. The branches were moving. Oh. Yeah, if there's no smoke, then it's frozen. I also think it's frozen. Says no that. Yeah. There we go. Because I hear the wind, and then I didn't see anything moving. But we actually missed Jen was just walking. Maybe Jen secretly froze the camera so she could walk to the barn with the dogs. From Unsel. Hello, what benefits have you gained from being an international teacher, communicating with people from almost every nationality? Thanks. Have a great day. Bye. So there's two things I would say about being a teacher on YouTube and teaching to people around the world. Number one, I used to read or listen to or watch local news or Canadian and American news. I was very North American in my news consumption. Does that make sense? And now when I open up my browser, it goes to the news, but it goes to world. It doesn't go to local or Canadian news or North American news. So I would say the first thing that has happened is as I got to know people from other parts of the world, I became more interested in knowing what's happening in your country, what's happening in the middle of Australia or in a little city in Japan. Like, I'm curious to know what's happening. The second thing that happened is that I actually don't feel like, how do I explain this without being really mean? Sorry, we just got a little bit of Jen there. I don't want to be disrespectful to Canadians, but I think I used to think Canada was the most amazing country in the world. And now I think it's one amazing country in the world. At the beginning of this journey on YouTube, when someone mentioned where they were from, I would read the Wikipedia article after the live stream. So like right now, Motivation is saying Dominican Republic. So I'll probably read a little bit about that country. So I feel like I am very much a Canadian, very proud to be Canadian, but I feel like I'm more of a citizen of the world now. Does that make sense? Hopefully, a little philosophical there, but that would be how I feel. I don't know if this is a joke. Canadian makes silly question in order to be funny. Like, what was the color of Napoleon's white horse? Yeah, he probably had a white horse. So am I allowed to get political about Napoleon? Is that far enough in the past? We'll see. Let's see here. A personal question. First from German. How often do you see squirrels? Quite often, but they're on the other side of the house. You won't see them here. They're like behind our house, there's kind of a woods, and you would see that. From Jorge or George, do you use any cologne or perfume? Which one do you like? Thanks. I don't actually. One of the reasons I don't is because I am quite sensitive to smells. And although I used to wear cologne when I was much younger, I find I don't really like the smell. And also because schools are supposed to be fragrance-free environments. When you're in a building like a school with lots of people, if everyone wore really strong cologne or perfume, it wouldn't be very pleasant. So it's meant to be fragrance-free. So you can wear deodorant, you put deodorant under your arm. or antiperspirant. That's fine. And but mostly no. In schools, you don't do that. So good question though. When I was in university though, I wore cologne. I can't remember, what did I wear? I think oh yes, I wore this. Didn't super like it though, but there's some super personal information about Bob. Freddie says you can become a U.S. citizen if you have $5 million extra dollars and you could buy a gold card. Yeah, money does buy you things, doesn't it? And then up top, Hafia says there's a tripod being the security guy at the door behind Bob. Yeah, that's how I don't know if you've seen that in the past. That door will slowly swing open. So I put a tripod there to stop it. Let's get another question. From Sofiane, I wanted to say hi, Bob. Well, hi. Hi to you as well. Back to the question about teaching people from all different parts of the world. I just like it when people in the comments say hi. Like, it's nice. And then I say hi back. A lot of times they'll say like, hi from Morocco. And then I'll say, oh, hi back. I hope you're having a good day over there. I think the little things sometimes are the best. Like just saying hi to someone can be really, really helpful. Let's see. Natalia says, I feel the same. I am a person of the world because I like traveling and I've seen many different people. Yes. Yeah. And good to see you, Natalia. I know Natalia from like years ago because she won the contest where I did private English lessons. That was fun. Bob the Builder. Hey, Bob. How I am fluent in English, but people say I have a slight accent. So how can I have a Canadian accent? Any tips? So you do have to spend time. If you're already fluent, but you have a slight accent or maybe even a strong accent, you have to spend time with an accent coach. There are actually people who will help you reduce your accent. You will probably never eliminate your accent. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It gives when you speak English, it makes it beautiful in my mind. But you can find people who help you learn English, but you can also find people who specifically help you with accent reduction. And it's going to cost money, but you can definitely find that if you find a person like that, if you look for that. I'm going to give someone a timeout here. Let's go 10 minutes there for Mr. Mannix. There we go. Anybody else? I think we're good. Caught that one out of the corner of my eye. Mode caught that as well. Yeah, maybe 10 minutes. Maybe I should have done a little more. Let me get another question on the screen here. Oksana, hello, Bob. Are the words pupil and student interchangeable? How to ask what class or grade or year a student is in? So in Canada, this is very specific to my area, possibly. We don't use the word pupil. Some older teachers might, like how many pupils do you have in your class? We most often use the word student. And so you would say something like this, ask what class or grade or year a student is in. Oh, so in Canada, in my part of Canada, you would say, oh, are you in high school? Yes. What grade are you in? I'm in grade 10. In America, it might be more like, oh, are you in high school? And they might say yes. And you might say, what year are you in? I know, we have to ask Brent. I don't think Brent's here right now. But in Canada, you would say, what grade are you in? I'm in grade 10. But that's very Canadian. I think in Britain, it's probably different as well. So anyways, in my part of Canada, if you use the word pupil, I would understand. But it's more, I use the word student. So, let's see here. No, that says, Bob, theoretical question. Do you know Bob the Mover? I don't know Bob the Mover. Bob the Builder, Bob the Mover, Bob the Canadian. There's so many Bobs. There's Bob and Doug. They're a comedy duo from years ago as well. Oh, Brent says I'm here. Hey, Brent. So I don't know if you have time, but in Canada, I would say to someone, what grade are you in? And they would say, I'm in grade 10. What would the question be where you are in Maine, in America? Would it be, what year are you in? I'm in second year. I'm not sure. A wild Brent appears. Yeah. Anyways, if you have a chance in the chat, Brent, I'd appreciate if you could help people understand that. Alexander. Hello, Bob. Thank you for all you do. Please make a lesson for preparing for a job interview. I think I did that, actually, but I can do another one at some point. Let's see here. Bob, the Canadian job interview questions. I'm just trying to find the link quickly. Yeah, there it is. I think I actually licensed this video to someone in the Canadian government at one point, or maybe it was a different one. Job interview questions. So Brett says, I'm in 9th grade. We don't say grade 9, but I like that song by the group We Shouldn't Say. Yes. What would the question be then? Pupil is pretty old. I only hear, yeah, used for eyes. Yeah, they say 5th grade, Canada grade 5. Yeah, I'm just curious though, what, if I was to ask an American student, do I say what year are you in? Or do I say what grade are you in? I don't know. Anyways. Losing track of what I'm doing here. My question is the following. I hate doing homework. How to learn? Well, yeah, that's a tricky one. I do think that most people who watch my channel, most people who are in this live lesson are usually adults, or maybe they're teenagers. So you need to find a way to make homework for yourself and do the homework, even if you hate doing the homework. There's just something really special about reviewing something you learned that day, or sitting down at a desk and actually doing the work. We have an expression in English, when people want to be successful, you got to do the work. If you want to play baseball in like be a Major League Baseball, you got to do the work. You got to put in the time. So you have to, figure out how to do that. Brett says, what grade are you in? So it's the same question and just a slightly different answer. In Canada, what grade are you in? I'm in grade 10. In the US, what grade are you in? I'm in 10th grade, or I'm in the 10th grade. I think both would work. Okay, we're going to go to members only chat. Give me a moment here to turn that on. If you are wondering, what is this members only chat thing that Bob is talking about? When I do a live lesson, at a certain point, I have 10 minutes where people who are members, those with green names, can ask questions directly in the chat. I do still have questions coming in from the forum, so I will work on those as well. But if you're a member, use the chat to ask a question, and I will do my best to answer it. No, that says, Bob the Mover is a transport company, movers from your region. Oh, see, I haven't moved, so I wasn't aware of that. I will keep an eye out, though, for those trucks when I'm on the highway. In English, when you keep an eye out for something, it means you look around to see it. So did not know that. Felipe says, hello, my teacher. I'm from Brazil. Thank you so much for the super chat. And I hope you're having a good day down there in Brazil. It's probably way warmer in Brazil than it is here. Okay, let me get a question on the screen, and we will keep moving along here. Natalia, hi Bob. My expression today is first and foremost. What does it mean? Who is a foremost? Thanks. So it's simply a very formal way of saying that the next thing you're going to say is very important. So if I started my live stream, and let's say Brent from American English is a special guest, I would say, well, first and foremost, I want to thank Brent for being here today. So I'm basically highlighting that that's important. If I was to make breakfast, first and foremost, I need to get some eggs from the fridge. Like, it's the first thing I need to do, but it's like a really formal way to say it. From Clayton, how is the weather in your country? It is -6. It looks like this outside. Why do I not have? There's the right button. So it was really cold. We had lots of snow. Then it was really warm, and it rained for a few days. So a lot of the snow melted, and now it's really cold again. I think actually later today, let me pull this up. Yeah, it's -6, and it's going to be -3 Celsius today. So somewhat cold. Not crazy cold, but somewhat cold. From the chat, let's see, what does the term Commonwealth mean? So there are two meanings to Commonwealth. One would be there is the Commonwealth, and it's a bunch of countries that used to be part of the British Empire. So I think Australia, Canada, New Zealand were all part of the Commonwealth. There's even the Commonwealth Games. So that's like a formal name of an organization. But Commonwealth does mean exactly what it looks like as well. It's like the wealth of a group of people. What is the meaning of Commonwealth? I would say you would, let's see here. It basically just comes up as the main meaning is the group of people that used to be the British Empire, or the group of countries. That is where I hear it the most. But it could be any grouping of countries. Yeah. Interesting. And then the other meaning that I was alluding to is just the general good. It's good for the Commonwealth. It's good for everyone. But yeah, not a common word, except when we talk about the Commonwealth Games, or, you know, Canada and Australia are part of the Commonwealth. I think we are. And let me look. Who's in the Commonwealth? Australia, Barbados, Canada, Eswatini, Kiribati, New Zealand, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea. Well, there's a lot of countries. There you go. And the British monarch is the head of the Commonwealth. Okay, very cool. Current member status, working language, English. Okay, I'm getting off track here. I'm doing too much research about the Commonwealth. Hafia says, congrats on the 100 million views total for the channel. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Someone mentioned that to me at work the other day. They had looked. So I thought I was at, oh yeah, it's 100 million views. Okay, I must have missed that. It happened a few days ago. Let's see. Thanks, Hafias. No, that says, how was your Friday? If you don't mind me asking, Bob, and what are your plans for today and tomorrow, if you have something planned? Thanks, Bob. So my plan for today is to do a live lesson. And then I still haven't done my second short lesson for my other channel. And I'm committed to staying on a somewhat normal schedule. So I'm going to pop outside and make a short lesson. Then when I'm done that, Jen needs the computer to finish editing her video. So I'll probably have a nap. On Saturdays, I often watch the YouTube channel Corridor Crew, puts out a video at noon about special effects in movies. I'll probably watch that. And I might read a book. So, no, that says, I've come across the phrase to get bent out of shape lately. Could you explain the meaning of the phrase, Bob, and give some examples of its usage? A heartfelt thank you as always. So when you get bent out of shape, it means you're either angry or annoyed or frustrated. So let's say a parent was really, really angry at the school. They might come in to talk to the principal, and then they might get bent out of shape. They might be like, this school is doing a bad job. You're doing a bad job. You would say they got bent out of shape. So probably the closest thing would be, it means to get angry or really, really annoyed about something. Freddie says, Bob, I can remember that you have talked about making a huge meetup sometime, somewhere with you, Brent, and a lot of your members. Do you think that this would be happening one day? That would be cool. You know, let me think about that, because so Brent and I have a plan for this year. Maybe the year after we could do something in Toronto. That might be kind of interesting. I'll talk to Brent when I see him in person. By the way, when you see someone in person, it means instead of texting or talking on the phone. So when I see him later this year in July-ish, we'll talk about whether we'll do something like that. Freddie says, hi, Brent, great to see you. No, that says Modags is also part of the Walking Dead series. Oh, interesting. Brent says, in the United States, we actually have 4 states that go by Commonwealth. For example, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Oh, interesting. So it's used there as well. Very cool. Okay, let me see here. From Chung. Good day, sir. I have a stutter. Please tell me how to fix it. So I am not an expert on helping someone alleviate or stop stuttering. Stuttering is when you speak in your own language or English, and then it's hard to get the words out, we would say. Sometimes you're trying to form a sound, and you'll make that sound a few times in a row as you're trying to say it. I'm not going to, mimic someone stuttering, because I think that's kind of rude and disrespectful. But I think you understand that a stutter is when, like right now, I'm speaking quite smoothly and I'm not having any trouble saying my words. But some people, when they try to say certain sounds, they'll repeat it a few times. And in English, we would say they have trouble getting the word out. Like they have trouble saying it. So I just highly recommend you find a professional. There are people who work in the world of like speech therapy, who help people do things like reduce accents, reduce your stutter, learn to pronounce sounds that you have trouble pronouncing. So Chung, I would say I am the wrong person to help you, but the right person to point you in the right direction. So hopefully you can find someone that can help you. Let's see. Freddie Wolf says, in one of Jen's videos, the camera followed you by itself. Did you add an engineering and some type of wheels to it? So Jen and I sometimes are each other's camera person. So that would probably be Jen following me. And if it was Jen in the video, me following Jen. Cameras have really good stabilization now. So even as you walk, they make it seem like it's just a drone or floating. So very cool. Hafia says the B&B plan will involve a guitar. Yes, the Bob and Brent plan. I think the only hint we've given is an electric guitar. Neither of us are musicians. We're not starting a band. And I'm not giving any more hints. Mode says, like if the state name wasn't long enough. Yes, for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And hard to say. Okay, let me get another question on the screen here. Members keep sending the questions. We'll leave members only chat open for a bit more. From Shabnam, hello, what is the meaning of wanna and gonna? So wanna and gonna are informal contractions of want to and going to. So if I want to eat pizza, I can say I want to eat pizza. If I want to go to the store, I can say I want to go to the store. If I'm going to eat pizza, I can say I'm going to eat pizza. What are you doing later today? I'm going to eat pizza. I actually might do that. I think there's some leftover pizza from yesterday. So it's not like a formal contraction. Like it's not the same as do not becomes don't. That's like a formal contraction, which has rules. Wanna and gonna are informal contractions that we only use when speaking. So I wouldn't ever really write down, I want to go get some pizza. I would write, I want to. But then when I read it, I would probably still say wanna. So informal contractions is what those are. Okay, let me get to here and let me turn off members only chat. Thanks for being members, all of you who are members. That is awesome of you. And let me go to Rivercam and have a good sip of water here. Freddie Wolf says there's also gotta. I gotta go. It's quite late. Yes. It's interesting because I got to go is actually I have to go. So I would actually say gotta is an informal contraction of I have to. So if I say I have to go, I might say I gotta go. And I might even not say I might just say, hey, gotta go. See you tomorrow. So really what I'm saying is, hey, I have to go. See you tomorrow. Let me dig up another question here. Sorry, I'm just looking at Hafia's comment. Let's see here. Let's go to Celia. Hi, Bob. In case I forget the words I memorized, I know I need to review them frequently, but is there a better way to memorize the new words? Little fix there. Thanks. So my method, and it might not work for everyone, my method is to always use the word a lot for several days in several different ways. So again, you all know the word cat. A cat goes meow. If you learn the word cat, you want to use it in a conversation. You want to write it in an email. You want to text someone and say, do you like cats? You want to read a story about cats. You want to find a news story about cats. And you want to do all of that over a few days. So let's say on a Monday, you learn 10 vocabulary words. You want those vocabulary words to be part of your life for that week. You want to see them. You want to see pictures of their meaning. You want to use them. That just really helps. A word that isn't used is a word that is forgotten. That is my take on that. Yeah, you got to use them. And it gets tricky if you're trying to learn 50 words a week, it's hard to use them, right? Tina, good morning. What is the difference between these two, on a Tuesday and on Tuesday? So one is kind of indefinite. So if I said to you, yeah, let me see here. I'm trying to think of an example, but when you say on a Tuesday, it doesn't mean this Tuesday, but the second one does. So if I say, I'm going to eat pizza, maybe on a Tuesday. I'm going to eat pizza every week, maybe on a Tuesday. It's kind of, there's nothing written in stone yet. There's nothing permanent about that. But if I say I'm going to eat pizza on Tuesday, then it's a definite statement. So the second one, on Tuesday, is very defined and definite, and it will happen. I'm going to release a video on Tuesday. If I say on a Tuesday, I almost feel like using the word might or maybe. You know, I might maybe go, I might maybe take a day off on a Tuesday or something. Like there's something indefinite about that. It's a good question though. I don't know the perfect answer to that one. Sorry, I got a little error coming up here. Yeah, so that's a tricky one, but definitely the second one is very, very rigid. From Uchichi, hey Bob, I'm from Nigeria. I just started to learn American English the second week of February 2025. Please guide me through. I really want to learn faster. So a few things. One, that's excellent. Your writing is already really, really good. There's a couple little fixes in there, but you're communicating, which is half the battle. So good job asking a question. I would say this. You have to look at your life. You have to look at what you do from Sunday to Saturday. Like maybe you have a job, maybe you go to school, and you need to find the time in each day that you can study English. And you might have to give up other things. Like if you want to learn English quickly, you might have to stop playing badminton on Mondays. You might have to stop hanging out with your friends on Wednesday after work. And then once you know how much time you have, you really need to use that time well. Make sure you're doing some reading, some writing, some listening, some speaking, learning vocabulary, learning a little bit of grammar. If you want to learn English quickly, though, I always say you need minimum an hour and 6 days a week. You can learn a language in about 30 minutes a day. And that's somewhat of, well, it's not casual, but it's not going to be fast, okay? I think it's a good rate. But if you want to learn something fast, you have to look at your week. You got to find the time and then use that time really well. And then the second thing I would say is get a tutor. Like there's a link to Preply in the description below. Get a tutor, hire a tutor. That will help speed things up quite a bit. Let me get a sip of water here and read the chat. Know that, stop watching. Oh, I think he's talking about The Walking Dead. Yeah, I've never watched that. I watched the first couple episodes. When they got to Atlanta, I think I stopped watching it. Spoiler, I think they go to Atlanta. Maybe Know That can confirm that. Let's see here. Bob, c'est comme en français, un lundi et le lundi, indéfini et défini. Yes, one is a little more definite than the other. Give something personal to them. Oh, when I send the book, should I send more than just the book? I could do that. We'll see. They're talking about the video from this past week where I said I would send someone a book. I think, Natalia, I'm going to scroll back. I'm looking for Judith's comment. I'll scroll. I'll go and have a look at it later. But Judith, if you have an idea about what I should do, leave a comment below, and then I'll definitely read that one later today. Okay, here we go. Question on the screen from Fabian. Hello, dear teacher Bob. Thank you for your work. I have a question. What do you think is the most difficult word in English? Thanks again. Greetings from Columbia. So Massachusetts is a pretty hard word. That came up in the chat recently. I always feel like, man, that is a long word and hard to say. Let me see. What's a word that I struggle with? Yeah, there aren't a lot, I don't think. English is fairly straightforward usually, but sometimes you'll have a word where you're not quite sure. There was a word on Jeopardy the other day. I can't remember what the word was. I'm just looking up a list here for a second. Yeah, I used the word onomatopoeia yesterday. That can be hard for some people. But no, usually what it is a like a word that's used in a specific subject area that I don't use very often. That would be something that would be difficult for me. Like if the geography teacher all of a sudden used the word isthmus, I didn't even say it right there, which means like a kind of peninsula, I think. That's when it gets a little bit tricky. From Manikanta, why don't you upload videos to Instagram? I do actually. My short English lessons are uploaded to Instagram, but I don't upload any of the good YouTube content to Instagram, like the really well-produced videos, because Instagram, honestly, it doesn't pay me. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I do this as a job and I need to earn a living doing this. And so YouTube pays creators. Like you watch the ads, I get like 0.001 cent, and then that adds up to a respectable amount of money for the time I'm putting in. Facebook and Instagram just don't pay creators. TikTok doesn't pay creators. It's kind of I shouldn't say that. Facebook a little bit, but YouTube is very fair. You do work, you put up videos. If people watch them, you get a little bit of money. So I've always appreciated that. So let's see. Saskatchewan, Freddie, is hard to pronounce. Isn't one of your Canadian provinces the most difficult to pronounce? Some people struggle with Saskatchewan, but I mean, I've obviously been saying it since I was a little kid. So from Mikel, I have some savings. How do you think... Oh, I see. I have some savings. I'm going to correct a few things as I read this. I have a few savings. What do you think is a good idea? To spend it to go to English school or to an English-speaking country? I think you're asking which would be best. Well, the best thing would be go to an English-speaking country and then take English classes in the English-speaking country. I'm not sure how much money you have saved up, but it really might depend on your English level. If your English level is quite good and you just want to really improve it, you should go to an English-speaking country and maybe find a way to improve your English there. If your English level needs some improvement, though, I would say take a class. I think that would be better for you to do that. That's a good question. It's tricky, right? To figure out sometimes what is the best way to spend money. Let's see, from Dea. Hello, Bob. My question today is, do you have any questions you would like to ask us? Maybe we can answer in the chat. I don't. I should do that someday, shouldn't I? I should ask my viewers some questions about themselves. Well, here's a really simple question. You can answer this in the chat. Are you watching this live stream on a phone or on a computer or on a tablet? There's a simple question for you. So I'm always curious to know, are you watching this? Like I watch a lot of YouTube. And I should add, on a TV. So are you watching this on a phone, on your computer, on a tablet, or on a television? That would be my question. I should do that more often, Dea. Thanks for the idea. From Alina. Hi, Bob. I want to know which grades do you teach and do you find teaching exhausting? I teach grade 9 and grade 11 right now, and I don't find it exhausting. I am part-time, and so that does help. Like I think some of my full-time colleagues, they do look quite tired or exhausted sometimes. But yeah, so I teach students like age 13 to 18. there's kind of a range there. So quite a bit of a difference. Okay, so in the chat, phone, computer, laptop, TV, tablet, computer, phone and computer. There we go. I'm watching on my phone, on my computer. Very, very cool. You know, I can also probably do a poll, can't I? I never do these interactive things. I should do them more often, shouldn't I? Let's see here. I can start a poll. How are you watching this? Phone, tablet. Oh, I got to add options here. TV. What was the other one? Oh, computer. There we go. We can do a poll. We'll find out from the poll as well. Let's see here. Brent says, Jamie and I are watching on TV, and I also have the chat on my phone. Yeah, I do that quite a bit too, where the TV is one thing and the phone is something else. So I'm just going to close this for a sec. Let me get another question on the screen while we wait for results. From Gabby. Hello, Teacher Bob. Can you explain the difference between sensitive and sensible? Thanks. So this is interesting because this word and its various forms in different languages can mean different things. In English, if I say I'm a very sensitive guy, it means when you tell me about your life, I feel the same emotions as you. If you're like, if you're sad, then I'm sad because I'm sensitive. And when you tell me you're sad, I feel sad as well. When you're happy, I'm happy. I'm a very sensitive person. So a sensitive person is able to sense and feel the same emotions as someone else. A sensible person is very logical. So a sensible person says, I'm going to buy a new computer, but I'm going to wait till it goes on sale. It's a very sensible thing to do. They will save money. A sensible person says, bread is too expensive, so I'm going to bake my own bread. That's a very sensible thing to do. Okay, let me see how this works here. I have to stop the poll at some point. I think that's how it works. Let's see. Oh, end poll. There we go. Does it give you guys the results? Yes, it does. So 57% phone, 29% computer, 7% tablet, 6% TV. It's interesting. TV is a growing segment for watching YouTube. Jen and I often watch YouTube on TV. There's a couple channels we follow, and we'll watch that on TV sitting on the couch because it's nice and comfortable. Okay, what do I got here? 12 questions to go. I should make sure. Did I do the last question? Let me just go previous for a sec. Yes, I did. Okay. From Minos, what does it mean still when it comes alone before a comma, like still? He always makes this. Still, it means in spite of, like I told him not to, but still he's doing it. So it's kind of like an in spite of or despite. It has a similar meaning there. Because it could also mean like the image was very still earlier. So that's a different meaning of the word still. And then it can mean someone is still doing something. Like I'm still doing this live stream right now. But if you say, you know, I told Joe you need to buy better bread, but still he goes to the store and he buys the crappy bread. Like that would be an example of still in the way I think you're using it. From Nima. Hi, dear Bob. Which one of these noun phrases is correct in English? Okay, so I don't want to say wrong things out loud if you're wondering why I went quiet there. So number 3, a dozen eggs would be a carton with 12 eggs in it. I went and bought a dozen eggs. I know in other countries, eggs come in 10 packs and 8 packs and 6 packs and 12, but here, most of the time you will buy a dozen eggs. So number 3, a dozen eggs. Number 4, though, would mean that you have more than a dozen and could also be correct. I made breakfast for 100 people and we used dozens of eggs. It means I used more than 1 dozen. Like I used a lot. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, yes, a dozen eggs, 12 eggs. 4, yes, in that situation, like I had to buy dozens of eggs to feed my family. And then 5, no. So there you go. There is your answer. Should we do? Oh, sorry. I'm not here. Just a sec. I was going to ask a question, but I'll do it this way instead. Here we go. Should we do more polls? Oh, I spelled it wrong. Start poll. There we go. During these live streams. Okay, let me get another question here. From June, could you recommend a few movies or soap dramas for studying English? So, movies, I would say you should always start with movies you like, the genre you like, and possibly a movie you've already seen dubbed into your own language. So, for instance, if you really like science fiction and you've watched Star Wars in Spanish, you should watch Star Wars in English. That's a great start, okay? So I, in particular, don't have a movie to recommend, but I would say for movies, that's a great way to do it. If you saw Guardians of the Galaxy and you saw the dubbed version in Japanese, rent it and watch it in English, maybe with the subtitles on, okay? So a movie you've seen before in the genre that you like. I'll do the second part after I turn off the poll. And poll, the results are 86% said yes. So I should, for my next Saturday live stream, which is in a month, I'll try to think of some more interactive stuff to do. So it's not just me talking. It might be a little bit fun. Let's see here. Let's see, there must be a delay on my side since the poll comes up first. Yeah, there's always a slight delay. Yes. Yes, we should, so people know we have a democracy. Yes, it's a democracy here. Okay, and then in terms of shows to watch, what I would say is find a show. There are some classic shows that people like for learning English. Probably one that's really good is Friends. It's quite old now, though, so like the technology they use and stuff isn't great. But Friends, I have heard from people, is very fun to watch. Like it's funny and you'll learn English, American English. But I always recommend reality TV shows. So watch Amazing Race, watch Survivor. There's a few other reality shows as well because you get very authentic English conversation in them. Not sure about that. I'm going to skip this one from unknown. Not this one. I skipped the one before because it was asking about uploading or downloading. Hey, Bob, what's your favorite ice cream and chocolate? My favorite ice cream, anything with chocolate in it. I think the last ice cream I had was like salted caramel with peanuts. That was really, really good. It was like chocolate ice cream with salted caramel and peanuts. Caramel is kind of like a really yummy, salty candy. But yes, anything with chocolate in it, I like. Favorite chocolate? I like Kit Kat. That's a nice chocolate bar. Or there's a chocolate bar called Aero. Okay. From Michael. Why do native speakers always say, let's fire her up when starting something? I've never heard someone say, let's fire it up. Thank you and have a fantastic weekend. You'll hear both. So we have moved away, I think. It's informal English, but we've kind of moved away from using her to talk about machines. Like people would refer to a boat as her or a tractor as her, or let's fire her up. So it means to start the engine of a machine. And it's actually, in my opinion, more common to hear let's fire it up than let's fire her up. So you'll hear both, but it simply means to start something. And maybe you've not heard let's fire it up, but totally normal. Like if I went to buy a used car and I would say, does it run? And the guy would say, yeah, let's fire it up. And he would start the car so I know that it runs. Let's see. Hafia says, if another YouTube channel, I suggest Good Mythical Morning. I find them great and also fun for learning English since they do games, etc. Also kid-friendly channel for the most part. Yeah, those guys are pretty good, right? Is that Rhett? Forget who does Good Mythical Morning. I should check that. Good. I can't type Mythical Morning. Is it Rhett and Link? Yeah, Rhett and Link. That's who it is. Cool. Let's see here. Let me get another question on the screen. So marching in March Madness. Just wondering, how is LeBob's book club proposal? So I think there's two maybe two parts to this question. There's been a suggestion in the back that in the past that I start to suggest a book to read. I haven't done any work on that. So let me work on that one, where I would say, hey, here's a good book for learning English. And then maybe I would do an introductory video on the book. And then a month later, do like a follow-up live stream about the book. But no, I haven't worked on that. I should write that down so that I do some work on that. You know, it's tricky to add new things, right? You got to find time in your week. From Guy, hello, Bob, how are you? Does bacon always come from pigs? Yes. Or is there bacon made from beef? No. So bacon always comes from pigs, or bacon could be made out of like soybeans and other vegetables. There's fake bacon as well. Bacon bits are often not real bacon. From 1047, hi, Bob. Question 1. What do you think is the most creative way to practice writing? So the least creative way to practice writing, but what I think is one of the best ways to practice writing, is to keep a journal or to keep a diary. They're the same thing. It basically means at the end of your day in English, you write down what you did that day. A creative way to practice writing would be to write stories that are fictional. So if you like to write a story about, you know, a man who builds a rocket and flies to space, that would be a great use. And then question 2, do you think academic writing is boring? Yes, I do. I have to do a lot of writing for my job, and it's not exciting to do that kind of writing. Journaling or writing a short story is much more exciting. Tara says, hi, Bob. Please tell me if you conduct online classes and on what platform. I don't. I have in the past done a Saturday lesson for 4 or 5 people. Freddie Wolf actually came to one a year and a half ago, but I haven't had the time to do that lately. From Pizdos, did you watch Breaking Bad? I did. And I watched Better Call Saul, and I watched, was it called Gran Torino? No, that's a movie. There was a movie as well that I watched all of it. I can't recommend it to people because it is very violent, and there is a lot of content that you might not appreciate in terms of like drug use and that kind of stuff. But I did watch those shows. From Taylor, hey, dear teacher, I've been learning grammar for 4 months and now I'm learning vocabulary, but I'm feeling burnt out. So I'm not sure how much time you have been spending learning English, but it might be time for a short break. You can't run every day to get ready to run a marathon. Eventually you'll hurt something. And if you're studying every day, that's good for a while, but you might need to just take a break. Take 2 days and don't study English. I wouldn't take a break longer than 4 or 5 days though, because you might just decide it's more fun being on break. But if you can, if that's what you need, I would say take a break. Got to check something here. I'm having a technical issue. Yeah, everything's working. I don't know why it looks like it's not. From Eduardo, there is some difference between recognize and acknowledge. So if I'm at the airport and I see a student I taught years ago, I would recognize them, okay? If I see them and they look at me and we both nod at each other, that means I acknowledged them. That means through my little head nod, I'm kind of saying hi non-verbally. I'm acknowledging that I know who they are. There's more to it than that, but that is one way. Or C, hi Bob, is there any difference between the words frost and hoarfrost? Is this second word used in Canada? The second word is not used in Canada. We just say frost. That is generally the word there's frost this morning. And that means there's water frozen to the ground and on things on the ground. Last question, Elena. Could you please pronounce the word yeast? I use it every single day, and sometimes it's tough to find it in the offline supermarket without asking. So yeast. So if you think of the word yes, yeast, so you change the E-S-T at the end, yeast. You need yeast to make bread. You mix flour and water and salt and yeast and maybe some oil, and then you knead the bread, and then the yeast makes the bread rise. It's very, very cool. It's an awesome, awesome thing to see. Okay, let's see. River Cam still moving. It's not as windy, but it is still working. You can see it's overcast day. It's about -4 now. It's warmed up slightly. In the chat, we see people chatting. Very good. By the way, today is the compliment day in France. I don't know if it is the same in other countries. I don't think so, but that's a good day, I think, when you compliment people. So, okay. The movie Nobody. No, it wasn't Nobody. It was, I did watch Nobody as well. Breaking Bad movie. El Camino. That's what it was. I think Gran Torino is a Clint Eastwood movie. So I get things confused sometimes. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to wrap this up. I think this was a fun live stream. I'm going to go have some breakfast now and enjoy the rest of my day, even though I have some work to do. So thanks for being here. I'm going to start saying bye to people in the chat. So if you want to say bye, you can, and I will see you Tuesday with another video. Next Friday, another live lesson, and we'll keep on having fun learning English. Hopefully you're having fun. Know that says, thanks for the wonderful Q&A lesson and your time, Bob. It's just great to have this extra opportunity to spend some time with you, and thus a little highlight every month. No problem. So bye, Know That. Bye to Freddie Wolf, 5 p.m. there. Still 8 degrees. Well, bye to Ralph. Bye to Yoming, Garav, and everybody else. Let me say bye in the chat as well. Bye, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. And bye to Burgett, Christian, BB, Cat Diary, Hafiez, Mode Eggs, Michael Holman, a few other regulars back here. Renata, Burgett, Know That, Hafiez, Fatima, Svetlana, Natalia, Illusion. Bye to Brent if he's still hanging around watching on a Saturday. He's probably having the same weather as me. That would be my guess. We're all just waiting for winter to end in our parts of North America. Yoming says, Bob, I want to say thank you. I'm spending 30 minutes studying English every morning. Yep, I take a rest on weekends. And I feel pretty good. That's a great plan. That's a great plan to learn language. Unsel says, thank you, wonderful person. It was a very enjoyable lesson. Have a wonderful weekend with your family, and please say hello to them from me. I will do that. So that's it. I'm going to hit the stop button, everybody. Bye. Have a